Welcome back to this week's episode of Success Through Connections. And I'm your host, Zelda. Today I have with me Scott Simson. So let's talk a little bit about building wealth with YouTube. If you want to build your wealth with just your camera and discover how to hopefully go viral, today's episode is for you. So today I'm going to be so happy to talk to Scott about all things YouTube. He is known as the guru of YouTube growth, and he is the powerhouse behind helping major corporations rack up millions of viewers through video content and get serious results. He works with the big guys. So if you're a business owner and you're dreaming of building your wealth by using your camera, you're going viral maybe with YouTube and getting that message in front of millions, hey, this conversation is going to be all about you. So Scott's going to break down what makes people click, watch, share, and buy your products. So get ready. I want you to get out your notepad because you're going to be wanting to take notes the way I love to take notes. And this isn't about vanity metrics. It's about creating video that will actually move the needle. Because that's what we need. We need to move the needle. So Scott, welcome to today's show. I'm excited to have you.
I'm very excited to be on your show. This is awesome. And we had a great conversation last week. I'm really excited to get back into it and really talk about YouTube, dive deep on YouTube. And I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to share some of my expertise.
Oh, I can't wait. And I always talk about how I met someone. And when I was talking to a mutual friend, Jake, he said, do you know Scott? And I'm like, no. He goes, well, you need to. So I immediately reached out to Scott to get to know him and worked our schedules out. And here he is. Yay.
Yay.
So I have a whole bunch of, you gave me so much information to think about when we had a call last week. And I was shooting all my notes out to my video production people and said, we need to do this and this. And I was like, they probably said, what is she doing?
Who's she talking to? Let me give him a piece of my mind.
Yeah. It's like, you guys need to listen to this. So what I want to know, number one, is when someone's creating a YouTube video with the goal of selling products or selling their service, what elements should they absolutely be must-haves in that video so that viewers would actually want to take a look at the video and maybe buy?
That's a really great question. And I wish that every one of our clients would ask that question when they came in. Usually they just ask, how do I go viral? And those two questions, they don't necessarily always go hand in hand unless you do a couple of key things in your content in order to position you well for getting a lead or selling a product. So typically what I will help people understand, or what I teach people to do is understand that there's a couple of core reasons why people are looking on YouTube. Generally, it's because they are either looking for a solution to one of their problems, or they're doing some competitive research based on, I've heard about this and I want to watch a review on the new iPhone and I want to check out the new Samsung phone, right? They're doing research to decide on which product to purchase, or they're in the mood to be entertained. And there's another variety of, sometimes people are just bored and they're just scrolling. But generally, when you're trying to sell a product, we're in problem solution mode or review mode. So that way we can give as much information as creators. So that way we can give it as much help as we can to help assist them on that path to getting an answer to their problem, getting their problem solved. So the first step is building a valuable piece of content that people are actually looking for, and then getting them to watch it. And now after they start watching it, now it's a matter of having calls to actions in your content that drive people from YouTube platform to some type of a lead magnet, some type of a free giveaway that they can exchange an email address for or book a call. We're just trying to direct them from our video to somewhere where we can collect their information. And if you have those couple of things, you focus on what are the people looking for, and then how can I give that to them in video form? And then how can I serve them even deeper by giving them a lead magnet or something to click on so that way I can capture their information, then you've got the basics down for how to convert someone from a YouTube viewer into a purchaser.
Yeah. And I'm going to get a little bit deeper into some of those things that you were mentioning in just a few, because it was like, oh, I've got a million questions. So when we have a video, and what have you noticed makes people want to share that video? What makes something truly shareable? Is it just for entertainment? I mean, sometimes it's like, I got to send this to somebody. Is there something magical that some kind of content that makes people want to share them?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So the majority of viewers are not going to share a long form video. Most long form viewers are going to watch the video, maybe take some notes, and then move on to the next video. And then it's a matter of repetition, right? The more views you get from the same people, the more often they come back and watch again and again, more touch points you have. And then it's 10 or 15 touch points before someone decides to take action with you. So sharing it does happen with YouTube long form videos, but it more often happens with YouTube short form videos or videos that are on Instagram and TikTok. And generally the reason people share something is because they heard something that they have never heard before. And then they say, oh, you got to check this out, Susie. And then they just press that share button, send it to them in their DMs. With YouTube long form, it's the same idea. There are a number of times that I will share long form videos with my team. If somebody is saying something that I've been thinking or feeling, or they're saying something I've never heard before, and I'm just like, hey, we need to incorporate this into our business ASAP. And so this is really important it's a very important testament to having a unique value proposition that is indeed unique. It's not just a mishmash of what everybody else is saying, but you have your own perspective. And you don't necessarily gain your own perspective in an industry until you've been in that industry for long enough to form your own opinions. Up until you have, grown a business, or you have your own unique way of doing things that are kind of opposite or counterintuitive to the way that other people are doing it, you're kind of just following the herd and whatever the leaders are telling you to do. So if you want to be successful, let's say in real estate, right? Then, and you've been in real estate for a pretty long time, right, Zelda?
17 years, yeah.
17 years. So you probably have formed your own opinions. Actually, I know some of the opinions that you've formed. Like last week, you said you didn't like chasing Facebook. When somebody's like, hey, anybody know a good realtor? You don't want to play that game, right? And so if you produce a piece of content, if you're, trying to build a real estate team around you and you produce a piece of content that's like, the most annoying thing on Facebook is when someone asks for a realtor and 87 realtors jump in and say, work with me, right? Now you have an opinion based off your experience that other real estate agents are going to latch onto, and they're going to be like, you know what? She's right. And I want to work with Zelda. Yeah. So that'll open up some doors. You'll start getting some DMs. People are like, hey, I'm so glad you said that, because
that'd make a great video.
It would make a great video.
Why would I not? I mean, I wouldn't want to work with someone like that. It's like, let's just pick anything out of the closet and throw that on. It's like, no, I want somebody who wants to, I'm going to tell them the questions to ask, which is, why should I pick the person you're recommending?
Yep.
What makes them stand out? What makes them so great? It's like, don't just say Mary Smith is my friend and my realtor. Like, why should I pick Mary Smith?
Right. Have your own opinion, and don't be afraid to share those things. And then what ends up happening is it's going to rub some people the wrong way. Totally fine. Those aren't your people. Right. But then you're going to have people who are like, oh my gosh, Zelda just said something that is incredible. And I love everything she's saying. I got to follow her. And then it's just a matter of time before I'm going to share her content. Then it's a matter of time before they want to do business with you.
So you mentioned a while ago, short form and long form. Yes. Can you give our audience a definition or the time frame of what makes a short and what makes a long?
Yeah. So short form, hold your phone like this and talking to it like this. Long form, hold your phone like this, and it's a little bit longer. So short form, generally, I mean, I guess it depends on the platform. I think on TikTok.
It's not time. It's not vertical, horizontal.
It is. When I talk about short form and long form, I'm talking specifically about short form vertical videos that will go on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts. When I'm talking about long form, I'm talking about horizontally shot content that is generally over at least 4 minutes, and it's most likely going to be just pushed on YouTube and maybe on LinkedIn, depending on the length of time. But YouTube is going to be the best place to post your long form content, and shooting it horizontally, though.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a new one for me. Okay. That's a new one. I just learned something new. I would have thought it was all about the timing, not necessarily horizontal or vertical.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Oh,
you have lengths of time. You have, with YouTube, it just depends on which platform. With YouTube, you can post up to 3 minute shorts. On Instagram, I think it's up to 90 seconds. It is a short and then becomes a post. And I think you can post up to 10
I never
minutes.
understood that stuff. That's
Yeah.
what I have a team for.
That's right. Exactly.
Here it is. You do it.
Exactly.
I just knew TikTok was vertical and short. I knew that.
Yep, that's right. That's what it used to be. But just give you a little insight. There's very little money in the platforms for having content that is very short, because nobody wants to watch they don't want to watch an ad before every 15-second short. Otherwise, they'd be watching 15-second ad, 15-second short, 15-second ad. And so there's very little money in the platforms when they only exclusively have 15-second or 30-second shorts. So each of these platforms has inched their way up there longer and longer because they can squeeze more ads in. And now it's more valuable.
So a lot of people worry that their videos are just going to sit there and not do anything. How do you design a video strategy that's actually going to drive some traffic and sales and signups and things that you can measure?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. Most people use social media and YouTube wrong. They use social media as a digital virtual billboard where it's like, hey, I've got XYZ product for sale, 50% off, come and get it. Right when they're talking about business post, and then they'll share these like deep stories about their vacations to the Maldives or whatever. And what ends up happening is no one engages with business posts that are advertisements. And the platforms require engagement in order to signal the algorithm to say, hey, people are talking about this, send it to more people. So you have to learn how to speak to each platform. With YouTube, a lot of the times what people will do is they'll upload a video, they'll title it video number 1, I am changing the oil on my car. And then they just let YouTube pick out whichever part of the video they want to show as the thumbnail. And when you allow YouTube to pick your thumbnail and you don't title your titles correctly, your videos correctly, nobody knows to click on them because they have no idea what they're about. Hands down, the most important aspect of getting clicks, getting people to watch your content, is to have good titles and good thumbnails. And this is why going back to what I was saying at the beginning, it's so important for you to create content that people are actually looking for, solving problems that people actually have, not just saying, you know what, I feel like talking about the weather. Let's talk about the weather, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't get you any clicks. You want to talk about things that people are actually searching for, and you want to title them in a way that people would actually type them into YouTube to find them. So going back again to the real estate example, what are some things you get into the headspace of a prospective buyer? What are some of the things that they might be searching on Google?
Real estate in a particular area.
Okay. Yeah. Real estate, homes for sale in XYZ, or school system in XYZ place, or restaurants nearby, or what is it like to live
airport?
Yeah. What's it like to live in Dallas, Texas? Yeah. Those are the things that they're looking for. And so my content strategy for real estate agent would be become the expert of that area, and then title your videos based off of what people are actually typing into Google, because Google and YouTube are also synced up. And so when you type something into Google, a lot of the time something on YouTube will pop up in those search results. If you do those things, then you will start getting traffic. You'll start getting views. It's just a matter of time. If you don't believe me and you just do your own thing, or you ignore this advice,
then watch your metrics.
You will not go anywhere.
So is it best to start a title with a question and hit the pain point?
There's not really a best practice whether you should start with a question. It kind of depends on the video. The next aspect is like, if if I'm trying to create content around what people are searching for, I'm actually going to go type those things in to YouTube. And then I'm going to look at the titles that pop up in search results, and the ones that have the most views, that are the most recent, I'm actually going to structure my title very similar to that, because there are billions and billions of viewers on YouTube every single day. There are billions of videos on YouTube, and most of the time, especially in like very like industries that have a total addressable market, they have a lot of people representing those industries, like real estate. Somebody has done what you're wanting to do in their own style, and they've had success with it. And so I usually go to the people that have had success and I say, okay, what did they do? I'm going to copy that.
That's what
I'm going to emulate that.
I'm going to look at their videos and what they're doing, what they're talking about, and saying, I think I'm going to do that too, and just tweak it for me. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are some of the first things that you look at when you're auditing a YouTube channel for some growth potential?
Titles and thumbnails, hands down, are the very first thing that I look at. And then also recency or consistency in content. Sometimes we'll see, oh, you posted one 9 months ago, and then you posted one yesterday, and you're wondering why you don't have any views. Well, you haven't been consistent with it. Like, you need to be uploading at least one video a week. And if you upload one video a week for a few months, now you're going to start to see some traction. But if you post once and expect to get traction, generally it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
We have one client right now who he builds kitchens. They do cabinetry and counters and all that stuff. And we posted his first video last week. It has a whole 22 views.
Got to start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. And then we posted a few shorts, and he's got a couple thousand views on all of his shorts now. And I mean, that's a starting point. You can't expect that you're going to get 1 million views out of the gate.
I noticed that my shorts do really well.
Yeah.
Better than the longs. So, and I was thinking of something when you were saying that, I lost that thought. So I'll have to come back to it when it hits my senior brain. So what kind of videos actually hold people's attentions, and so that you don't lose them in just a few seconds?
Yeah. So there isn't any one style that will hold attention. It's generally based on what is said in that video and how it's scripted, or how good you are at storytelling, or just how good you are at maintaining attention. One thing that we do in the scripts that we write is we use a tactic called micro hooking. And basically every sentence or every couple of sentences, we try to incorporate a cliffhanger that people will need to hang on for the next segment or a couple segments down the road. So it'd be something like, I would say something like, today I'm going to show you how to build a YouTube channel. But before I get into that, so now I've teased what's coming up, and now I've set the stage for this next segment. But before I get into that, I'm going to talk about XYZ, or I'm going to share with you a secret, right? Today I'm going to teach you how to build a YouTube channel. But first, I'm going to share with you a secret. And then as you're sharing the secret, did you know that if you use 5 different thumbnail variations, you can get this? But even better, right now I've added another micro hook that keeps people engaged. And if you do that every sentence or every couple of sentences, you have a much higher likelihood of people hanging in there longer.
Interesting. So what role does storytelling play in getting those millions of views?
Yeah, so storytelling is, we incorporate it because of a couple of things. Number one, because as we're telling stories, generally you are using your own version or style of micro hooks. And so it's like, I got to tell you what happened at the grocery store yesterday. It's insane. You're not going to believe this, right? And now you're like, what happened at the grocery store?
Yeah.
And so naturally stories, they hold attention because people want to know what is the story. The other reason that we incorporate stories, that we encourage our clients to incorporate stories, is because that is your differentiating factor. That is a unique value proposition. That's unique to you. Nobody has that exact same story. So when you tell that story, it sets you apart from all of the other real estate agents. And then when people hear you tell that story, and they're following along and they're engaged and they're like, oh my gosh, she's not just a real estate agent, but she tells great stories. I want to come back. So rather it's a conversion tactic as much as it is a retention tactic,
Yeah.
because people become converted to you through your stories.
Yeah. Very good. So you mentioned hooks a minute ago.
Yeah.
So can you share some proven hooks that maybe had those viewers, they stop the scroll? I mean, I know me, I'm a scroller, I'll scroll, but
Sure.
something grabs my attention, I'm going to stop.
Yeah. So there are, I call this next tactic the tension trinity. So when you create a thumbnail that has a little bit of mystery in it, it creates an unresolved tension. And from an audience perspective, that will stop the scroll and get them to ask a question. Like, hold on, what is this about? And then they go to the title. And if the title has some mystery, that will also create an unresolved tension. So they go thumbnail, like, ooh, well, hold on, what is this? Go to the title. Wait, what is this? And now you force them into a position psychologically where they have to click in order to have that tension resolved. And then what do? Well, you don't resolve the tension right away. You continue to build tension in your hook in your video. Today, I'm going to tell you about 3 things that happened to me when I was a kid that made me believe that there are ghosts. Right now, it was like, okay, now I'm hooked in. There's
But
tension.
first,
Yeah, but first, I got to give you some history. Right, exactly. So you're literally just creating tension points in every aspect of your video. So people are like, there's a build up, and then at the very end, there's this sweet release where it's like all of their answers, all of their questions are answered, and they feel like there's resolution. And that's where you legitimately you want to end the video right there, because anything that you do after that point is they're gone.
Yeah.
You lost them.
I love that. I love that. So how do small businesses get more comments and shares to their videos?
Yeah, that's
I was just saying, hey, would you please make a comment?
So what I'll typically do is when I create content or when I advise any of our clients to create content, I'm encouraging them to have a two-way conversation, or pretend it's a two-way conversation. So this camera, when I'm filming, is not a camera, it's my audience. And so one thing that I did a few years ago that was like very helpful for getting me into this zone was I'd actually put my feet up. And when I talk, like I'd be talking, just having a casual conversation around my couch, sitting on my couch, hanging out with friends, I put my feet up and we're just having a conversation. And what I typically will do is I'll share some points and I'll be like, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about that? Or I say something controversial and I'll be like, hey, but this is just my opinion. What's your opinion on the matter? I'm really interested. You leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys on that. Saying something that is, I don't want to say necessarily polarizing, prolific, maybe like is a better word, where it's just like, hey, here's an opinion that doesn't necessarily trigger anybody angrily, but it creates, the need from somebody to share their opinion. Sometimes what we'll do is, we'll make mistakes on purpose. So that way people will feel that everybody wants to be the hero. They all want to prove their own intelligence as well. And so if you make a mistake, and there's a lot of times people will have the need to correct that. I've got a friend, my business partner at our conference. He will say onion in his videos, but he'll pronounce it onion. And so be like, so next thing you want to do is grab some onions and dice them up. And everybody's like, it's not onion, it's onion.
I love it.
Yeah. And so, doing little things like that we call it engagement bait, but it works. And and it works, helps with the algorithm.
So one of the things I was thinking about earlier was, how should a small business, how much should they worry about the production quality versus just being consistently posting?
So I focus on the first things that we focus on with anybody are creating habits around your content so it hurts not to upload. And so staying consistent, like you have to stay consistent to the point where it's like you miss a day and you're going to be kicking yourself. You're going to feel bad. We want to get to that stage first because that if you can get to that stage, the hardest part is forming habits around creating content. If you can get to that stage, then it's like 9/10 of the battle. And then from there, it's making sure that the things you say are valuable. They're value oriented. And then from there, coming up with titles and thumbnails. Production quality is way down the priority list. That's something that we don't focus on. For majority of our clients, we don't focus on for a very long time. And generally, it's like they're getting to the point where maybe they have a couple 100,000 subscribers and they're like, hey, I really want to take this to the next level. But you can get millions of subscribers filming on a phone. You can get millions of subscribers on YouTube probably filming on a 1980s like camcorder that's over the shoulder. As long as there's value there, people are going to want to watch it.
You're going to watch it. Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh, a camcorder. I remember those. I got a garage full of those videos.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. They're called DVDs or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, now.
Got a bunch of those. Oh dear. So how do you design a call to action that doesn't feel salesy and it will actually drive some leads to do the action that you're asking?
So we use a method that's called oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? It's called the curiosity gap method. So basically you dangle a carrot. So at the end of one of my videos where I'm teaching YouTube, let's say, okay, and that's how you guys grow a YouTube channel. Well, now if you want to learn how to, oh no, I wouldn't start like that. I would say that's how you grow a YouTube channel. Now, there's one more thing that we've been doing in each of our videos that has allowed us to increase our audience retention by about 40% on each video. So we're getting 60 to 70% audience retention on each video. And I talk about that. I break it all down in this video right here, or I break it all down in this, or I created a cheat sheet for you right here that you can click on. Totally free. All you got to do is click the link in the description. So now I have teased them with a desired outcome. This is what they want. I've given them a case study example, some proof that I know what I'm talking about. And then I've told them that, hey, it's free. It's totally free. All you got to do is click a link.
Right.
So
right.
that's my absolute favorite way to get people to click on my links.
So what is the simplest way for somebody who wants to get started? And if they're intimidated, I have a daughter that's this way.
Sure.
She hates to be videotaped. She
Okay.
doesn't want to be on the camera. So what's the simplest way to get started if you are intimidated by being on the camera? You do just audio for a YouTube video or something? I don't know.
So you could do what are called faceless YouTube videos. The problem with faceless, and it works, like there's a lot of people that have crushed it with faceless YouTube channels. The problem with faceless YouTube is that it is very easy to copy, especially in the AI world. And so if you start making content that's faceless and it starts doing well, it's only a matter of time before it gets ripped off. So when you're creating that content, you really want to make sure that you especially focus on those unique value propositions, the things that make you unique that can't be copied by someone else, because the content itself can just be rewritten by ChatGPT and then someone can voice it over and use very similar B-roll or very similar visuals. And now you've just kind of lost your competitive edge, especially if you're like, designing a content strategy that catches fire and it's like new in the industry. A lot of people are going to come and try and steal it from you. So my recommendation is always focus on those core branding elements that make you unique, that make you stand out from everybody else. But you can definitely create content without having to have your face on the camera. You could even have, you could be filming, like breaking down news articles on screen and just doing a screen share.
Yeah,
that type of stuff works as well.
True. Screen shares and B-rolls, all that stuff works. So,
yep,
yeah.
Exactly.
So how do you recommend to people to repurpose? So they have a good video. What do you recommend them doing to repurpose it, with multiple pieces of content for other platforms?
The biggest problem with repurposing right now, and it's funny, like if you were to listen to all the times I say that, the biggest problem, it all kind of boils down to a lazy factor. everybody wants an easy button solution to something.
Yeah.
And so they go to websites like Opus Clip or use software like Opus Clip or some of these other softwares, AI softwares that you can upload your video and then it will auto clip everything for you. And
Well, wait a minute. What is autoclip?
just means that the AI reads your transcript and basically says, okay, if we take this section right here, this will make a good short. If we take this section right here, this will make a good short. And then you can make it will just automatically clip your videos down into shorts. But we have found that artificial intelligence, just simply because it doesn't understand the nuances of human communication and what is actually intriguing or interesting from an audience perspective, it can't recognize those clips. And so those clips generally never perform very well. And I was just having this conversation. I'm glad that it came back up because this is important for your audience to listen to. So I was having a conversation with ChatGPT. I'll do that sometimes where I'll just like talk to it and just like, hey, ask it questions just to see where it stands on certain things. Well, one of the things that we were talking about was, will artificial intelligence ever completely replace humanity? And ChatGPT's answer was no. And I said, well, I mean, but if you think about human communication, everything is just patterns. And so if technology can recognize those patterns, don't you think that it can emulate us like 100% or fairly accurate, 99.9%? And it said, well, the biggest thing that artificial intelligence is going to have difficulty understanding is humans are a combination of rational and irrational. Everything that we do is a combination of rational and irrational. That's emotional and logical, right? We make decisions sometimes that are crazy because we're emotional. And then from some small group perspective, we'll look at those person's decisions and be like, good job. Well, another group over here is like, no, that's terrible. Well, artificial intelligence has a really difficult time understanding those nuancy things in humanity. And that's why I think it also is terrible at editing content or clipping shorts out of long form content, because it has no idea how to segment rational and irrational. And so what might be really interesting to what the patterns it recognizes might be interesting to an artificial intelligence, or it might assume that it's interesting to humans, like we find very boring. And then it skips over the things that are actually interesting.
So that's interesting. Now, while you saw me scribble some notes, because my senior moment a while ago came back to me in the middle of that when you were talking about it. So yeah. I'm going to ask this. I'm not sure how I want to ask this exactly, but I know when I first started with my YouTube and I hired someone to help me grow my business, and I wanted it to grow my YouTube channel. I wanted it to grow organically, but I did soon discover that they were using bots.
Yeah.
I got rid of them very quickly.
Good.
So can you talk to our audience about the differences between using a bot, which is not the way to go, and it's not the way I do it. We started from square one again. We started all over. Good. And to grow organically. It's like everybody that I have on mine is a real human that found me either because it was shared or they found me on a social media. They're real. There were not bots involved.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I would never, ever advise anybody use bots. If you want a fast way to get a lot of views that look really good, just run YouTube ads in India or in a country that has very low CPM, cost per mil. You can pick up subscribers for, a couple pennies. And so you can grow a YouTube channel to 100,000 subscribers with probably a few $1,000s if you run ads, targeted ads in India. Now, I highly recommend against doing that as well, because obviously if you're running ads in India, they speak Hindi over there. Most of them don't speak English. And so all of those subscribers are going to be dead subscribers, and YouTube kind of weighs that into the equation too. It's like, hey, as soon as you release a video, they're going to send it to a warm audience. And if your warm audience doesn't watch it, then they're not going to send it to a cold audience. So you end up killing your channel either way. Bots are, I'm sure a lot of your audience has seen the videos where it's like a whole wall of cell phones in some European or Asian country where it's like, this is a view farm. And it's literally, they just have all these cell phones all wired together, and they say, watch this video, and it'll watch this video, and instantly you'll get thousands of views on that video because the view farm has seen it. Well, if they're all coming from the same IP address and they're all, and the characteristics are we're going to watch 30 seconds and everything dips off, then YouTube can recognize that. So all of the views that you get, I did an experiment. I think I paid for like 5,000 views just so I could make a video about it. And all of those views within about 48 hours had all disappeared. And so I got 5,000 views and I was like, yay, 5,000 views. I paid for it. It's all a joke. And then 2 days later, they were all gone. So bots will kill your channel. They're against terms of service. So you can actually end up losing your account. And they just make you look bad. So I don't ever recommend.
So even though you go on one of these platforms like Fiverr or wherever you go, I can grow your audience and I don't use bots. Don't believe
They're liars.
it.
They're liars.
It's too good to be true, it is. It was like, what? And when I hired my new guy, he was like, Zelda, I promise you, these are all bots. And I go, how do you know? And he would explain it to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's in Africa and he is like, we're not using bots. And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
I didn't.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
So it was like, okay, let's start from scratch. So for what kind of recommendations could you give for the small business? They don't have the big budgets that your clients typically would have. So what are maybe 3 high impact things that they could do right away to get that channel going?
Talk about the news. That's like number one, whatever news is happening in their industry or that will impact their target audience. I literally press record, read some headlines, give your opinion, stop recording, upload, create a thumbnail in Canva, title it the way that maybe a news article is titled or what some other people on YouTube are titling their content. News related content is hands down the fastest way to grab some views quickly and position you as a thought leader. It doesn't have the greatest conversion effect, but you'll get views quickly. You get the ball rolling. At the same time, I would create content with high search intent. Again, do that research. What is your audience looking for? Make content based off of those search terms and then start mixing that into the equation as well. Those things are very simple to do and they will result in fast viewership and fast subscribers.
And here's a tip for our listeners. If you don't know, here's a really easy way to find out what your people are searching for. Go to ChatGPT. Ask it, give it the right prompt to get the right information. You can't just say, hey, whatever, you have to ask it correctly, but it can help you figure out who your audience is, all kinds of stuff. So, and what their pain points are and what they're looking for. So, Scott, I'm out of time for today. I so appreciate everything you share with us. Tell us how our audience can reach you if they want to reach you.
So you can, let's see here. It's probably best if you connect with me on a social media platform like Instagram or LinkedIn. It's Scott Simson without a P. No P in Simpson, Simson. My Instagram is I am Scott Simson. I'm Scott Simson. And LinkedIn, you can find me. Facebook, you can find me. I'm all over the place.
There you go. It's easy to find Scott. So my final question that I ask everybody, my signature question is, if you can, because we're all about connections, can you share a story of a time that presented itself to you that you had an opportunity because of a connection that you had?
Yeah, so our agency actually blew up because of a connection. My entire life has succeeded simply because of the connections that I've had and the people that I have made friends with. And our agency, our YouTube agency, it exploded because it's a crazy story. I bought into a conference, a local Dallas conference, and because I had a connection. And in that conference, I met a guy who introduced me to Russell Brunson, the CEO of ClickFunnels. And we started doing work with Russell Brunson at ClickFunnels, and that just expanded into a massive agency. And so everything, it is truly not about what you know, it's about who you know. And if you foster those relationships and do a good job of networking, the sky is the limit. I'm manifesting, I'm trying to get in front of Elon Musk. I'd love to work with Elon Musk and, some of these other folks that are high up in the tech industry, because I could just be really fun to do their content strategy on YouTube.
Okay. So if our audience, if anybody's out there and they have a connection to Elon Musk,
Yes.
Scott would like an introduction. Hey,
Hook it up.
it works. Funny story, Scott, is that I had a guest on my show recently, and he mentioned somebody who I've had on my bucket list to be a guest on my show since I started it. And he mentioned his name, and I said, I would just love to have an introduction to this guy and have him on my podcast. And he goes, Zelda, I'm friends with him. As soon as we get off this podcast, I'm going to call him for you. He's going to be on this week.
Yay. That's awesome. Good
So,
for you.
Elon Musk, everybody, who's got the connections. Thank you so much, Scott, for your time today. And I hope that that's it for today. Just remember that success does not happen in isolation. It happens because of the connections that we have. So keep reaching out and connecting to the people that you're trying to connect with and introducing others to people they're trying to connect with. That's how it works. Till next week, I'm Zelda, Success Through Connections.